What does the federal government want? What does the Trump administration want from the auto industry? Take a look what the average price paid is for a new vehicle right now. They realize, wait a second, it's all-time high. And right now, the market is willing to pay more for vehicles.
5,000 car dealerships across America just sent a massive warning to the U.S. economy. And what they're saying? It's worse than we thought. Right now, at this very moment, something is breaking in the American car market. Dealerships are shutting down. Inventory is piling up. And the numbers they're reporting are absolutely terrifying. But here's what nobody's telling you. This isn't just about cars. What's happening on dealership lots right now is a crystal clear signal of what's about to hit Main Street America. Because when people stop buying cars, when families can't afford payments, when dealerships are going bankrupt by the thousands, that's not a car problem. That's an everything problem. And the warning these dealers just sent? It points to something much bigger. Something that could reshape your bank account, your job, and your entire financial future in ways most Americans aren't prepared for. So what did these 5,000 dealerships discover that has them sounding the alarm? And why are the experts saying this could be the beginning of something we haven't seen in over a decade? Mike stands in the middle of his lot, surrounded by row after row of unsold cars. He's not alone. Across the country, the numbers tell a story that's impossible to ignore. At the end of December, United States dealerships held nearly 2.8 million new vehicles, enough to last 76 days if not a single new car arrived. That's the industry average, and on paper, it might sound manageable. But look closer, and the cracks become impossible to hide. Volkswagen dealers are staring down a staggering 143 days supply. That's nearly 5 months' worth of cars sitting idle, collecting dust and bleeding cash. Jeep and Chrysler lots are in the same boat, with inventories stretching well over 130 days. Ram trucks, once a staple of American roads, now pile up with 115 days' supply. Even Lincoln and Mitsubishi dealers are struggling to move vehicles, their lots packed with cars that just aren't selling. By contrast, Toyota and Lexus have kept their inventory tight, 33 days for Toyota, just 28 days for Lexus. Their approach is deliberate: build only what sells, keep inventory moving, and avoid the financial drag that comes with cars sitting unsold for months. That discipline means their lots look almost empty compared to the overflow at Volkswagen and Stellantis stores. Industry analysts point to this divide as a warning sign. When the average sits at 76 days, but some brands are drowning in excess, while others cannot keep cars on the lot, it is not balance, it is a market out of sync. The numbers reveal more than just a slowdown. They show a widening gap between winners and losers, a split that is putting enormous pressure on dealers caught with the wrong inventory at the wrong time. For every day a car sits unsold, the costs mount. Interest on floor plan loans, insurance, storage, and the slow creep of depreciation. Dealers like Mike are forced to make tough choices, slash prices, reject trade-ins, or watch profits evaporate. The hard data, 143 days for Volkswagen, over 130 days for Jeep and Chrysler, 76 days across the board, transforms those endless rows of cars into a financial burden too heavy to ignore. This is not just a blip. It is the start of a problem that numbers alone cannot contain. Mike unlocks his office every morning knowing that each unsold car on his lot is quietly draining his business. He's staring at more than 150 new BMWs and Audis, each one a magnet for daily costs that never let up. The numbers are relentless. For every vehicle, the dealership owes interest, floor plan financing, the industry calls it. It's a revolving line of credit, and the meter starts running the moment a car rolls off the transporter. On a $50,000 car, the interest alone can reach $8 or $9 per day. Add insurance, storage, and registration fees, and the real cost climbs to $12, even $15 per day for each unsold car. Multiply that by 150 vehicles, and the lot bleeds over $1,500 every single day just to keep those cars sitting still. The first 30 or 60 days might come with a grace period, but after that, the bank wants its share. Dealers are required to make partial repayments, curtailments. Every month the car remains unsold. For Mike, that means writing checks for cars that may never move. As the days drag on, depreciation starts to bite. That shiny new Audi parked out front is worth less with every passing week, and the discount it will take to sell it grows larger. The longer the car sits, the more it eats away at the slim profit that was supposed to keep the lights on. This is the silent weight of excess inventory. It doesn't show up in headlines, but it's everywhere in a dealer's daily math. Interest rates have risen since 2022, and now floor plan costs take up as much as 15% of a dealership's operating expenses during high inventory periods. For brands like Volkswagen, Jeep, and Chrysler, where lots are overflowing, the cash bleed is impossible to ignore. Some dealers have started rejecting trade-ins, unable to risk adding more cars to a losing equation. Others are forced into price wars, slashing sticker prices just to keep the bank at bay. Every unsold vehicle is a liability, not an asset. Dealers like Mike feel the pressure in every decision, whether to discount, how deep to cut, and how long they can hold out before the math stops working. The inventory glut isn't just a storage problem. It's a financial trap, tightening a little more each day and pushing even the strongest players to the edge. Audi showrooms, once symbols of steady demand, now echo with silence. The company's US dealers entered 2026 burdened by an inventory backlog that refuses to budge. While official numbers for Audi sales remain closely held, the picture at the brand level is unmistakable. Volkswagen, Audi's parent, sits on a 143-day supply. That's nearly 5 months' worth of cars, unsold, stretching across lots from coast to coast. For Volkswagen dealers, the situation is even more acute in certain models. The Atlas Cross Sport, for example, lingers on lots with a 176-day supply and more than 8,000 units waiting for buyers. Each one represents cash tied up, and each day that passes adds to the pressure. This is not an isolated case. Chrysler and Jeep are facing similar backlogs, but the spotlight now falls on the luxury segment. Audi, once a reliable mover in the premium market, is caught in a slowdown that is hard to ignore. Inventory that should have turned over months ago now sits, growing older and less valuable by the week. For every day these vehicles remain unsold, dealers lose leverage. They're forced to consider deeper discounts, more aggressive incentives, and in some cases, simply swallowing the losses. Volkswagen's problem is the most visible, but it's not alone. The industry average may be 76 days, but that number hides how sharply fortunes have diverged. Lexus, for example, moves inventory in just 28 days, a sign of disciplined production and persistent demand. While Toyota and Lexus lots cycle through new arrivals at a brisk pace, Volkswagen and Audi dealers watch their lots fill up, month after month, with no relief in sight. Mike, the dealer standing among those unsold Audis, sums it up in a few words. "We used to worry about not having enough cars. Now, I worry none of these will ever sell." His concern is shared by thousands of franchise owners who see the numbers on their inventory sheets and know what they mean. 5 months' worth of unsold Volkswagens is not just a statistic, it is a warning. When luxury brands can't move vehicles, it sends a message far beyond the showroom. The market isn't just cooling off. For some, it's gone cold. Mike stands at the front of his showroom, eyes fixed on 2 price tags that tell the whole story. On one side, the Audi Q5, a compact luxury SUV, lists at just over $63,000. Across town, a Lexus RX 350 sits under the lights at $58,000. Both cars promise high-end comfort, all-wheel drive, and the latest tech, but the numbers don't add up for buyers anymore. For years, Audi counted on its badge to command a premium. But in 2026, that premium is hard to justify. Shoppers run the numbers and start asking tough questions. Why pay more for a Q5 when the Lexus RX 350 offers similar features for $5,000 less, and with a reputation for reliability that stretches back decades? The price gap isn't just a matter of sticker shock. It's a signal that something's off in the market. Buyers like Sarah, who once dreamed of parking an Audi in the driveway, now run into a wall of monthly payments that strain even a healthy budget. Dealers try to sweeten the deal with incentives, but every discount eats into already thin margins. The math is brutal. Audi dealers face a 143-day supply, while Lexus turns over inventory in just 28 days. That difference isn't lost on consumers. They see empty Lexus lots and overflowing Audi stores, and the message is clear. Lexus is moving cars because buyers see value, while Audi struggles to compete. The problem runs deeper than just two models. Across the luxury segment, gaps like this are popping up everywhere. BMW, Mercedes, and even Porsche face similar questions as buyers weigh cost against perceived benefit. For many, the answer is to trade down or walk away altogether. Mike knows the conversations happening in his showroom are happening in thousands of others across the country. Every time a customer chooses a Lexus over an Audi, it's another reminder that price and value have become inseparable. The old logic that luxury buyers will pay whatever it takes no longer holds. This shift puts even more pressure on dealers already stretched by inventory costs. As buyers grow more selective and price-sensitive, the pain of every unsold car grows sharper. The luxury market's struggles aren't just about brand loyalty or prestige. They're about families making hard choices in a market where every dollar counts. Linda glances at her driveway, where her 3-year-old SUV sits parked, and feels a knot in her stomach. She owes $38,000 on a car that's now worth just $23,000. That gap, $15,000, hangs over every decision she makes. When her loan statement arrives each month, it's a reminder. She's trapped in a cycle that millions of Americans know all too well. For Linda, the numbers stopped making sense a long time ago. She financed her vehicle at a time when prices were soaring, interest rates were climbing, and new cars were scarce. The dealer stretched her loan to 84 months, 7 years, just to make the payments fit. Now, as the market cools and used car values tumble, she finds herself upside down, owing far more than her car is worth. Trading in for something more affordable isn't an option. Dealers run the numbers and shake their heads. Rolling over $15,000 of negative equity would mean an even longer loan, even higher payments, and no real escape. Selling the car privately would leave her on the hook for the shortfall, money she simply doesn't have. So Linda drives the same route to work, month after month, watching her balance shrink painfully slowly, while her car's value drops even faster. She's not alone. More than 80% of new car buyers now finance their purchases, and with average loan terms stretching past 7 years, negative equity has become a fact of life. For many, the gap is $10,000, $15,000, even $20,000. Every monthly payment feels like running in place. This isn't just a personal struggle, it's a warning sign for the entire system. When buyers like Linda can't trade in, can't sell, and can't afford to upgrade, the flow of cars through dealerships slows to a crawl. Inventory piles up, used car prices get squeezed, and dealers are forced to make harder choices about what they can take on trade. The burden isn't just on the consumer, it ripples through the entire market, tightening credit, raising costs, and making it harder for families to climb out of debt. Linda's story is written on balance sheets across the country. Each upside-down loan is a quiet signal of stress, one that doesn't make headlines but adds up, day after day, until the numbers are too big to ignore. Across the credit market, warning lights are flashing. Lenders who once fueled the car buying boom are now pulling back, and the fallout is starting to ripple through every corner of the industry. Tricolor, a major subprime auto lender, has filed for bankruptcy, an event that sends shockwaves far beyond its own customer base. For years, companies like Tricolor made it possible for buyers with shaky credit to drive off the lot in a new car. Now, with one less lender in the game, thousands of would-be buyers are suddenly locked out. It doesn't stop there. CarMax, the nation's largest used car retailer, has watched its market value cut in half since the highs of 2021. A 50% slide in market capitalization isn't just a number, it's a reflection of vanishing confidence in the very backbone of used car sales. Investors see what's happening on the ground. Fewer buyers approved for loans, more deals falling apart at the last minute, and a growing pile of unsold inventory that even the biggest players can't ignore. The subprime market, once seen as a lifeline for dealers and desperate buyers alike, is now a source of instability. As lenders tighten standards, the pool of eligible customers shrinks. More than 4 out of 5 new car buyers depend on financing to make the numbers work. But with negative equity on the rise and banks demanding higher credit scores, the odds of approval get slimmer by the month. For families already stretched thin, a single missed payment can be the difference between keeping a car and losing it to repossession. The consequences stretch far beyond individual buyers. Every time a lender collapses or a retailer stumbles, the pressure on dealerships grows. Unsold cars pile up, floor plan costs balloon, and the ability to clear out old inventory weakens. Dealers are forced to hold on to trade-ins they would have sent to auction just a year ago, hoping to squeeze out a profit in a market that's drying up fast. The credit channel that once kept the auto industry humming is now sputtering, threatening to choke off the flow of sales and push even more businesses to the brink. This is the hidden danger behind the headlines. It's not just about empty lots or falling prices, it's about a financial system that's starting to seize up, one lender at a time. Automakers have reached a breaking point. For years, they absorbed rising costs, tariffs, higher wages, supply chain headaches, hoping that demand would stay strong enough to justify it. But with vehicles piling up and buyers pulling back, that cushion is gone. In early 2026, manufacturers began quietly warning dealers, price hikes are coming, even as cars already sit unsold on lots. Ken Sato, a senior executive at one of the world's largest automakers, put it bluntly in a recent industry call. "We have held the line as long as we can. Our costs continue to rise, and we can no longer absorb them." The numbers tell the story. Toyota and Lexus, known for their discipline, announced that they will raise prices by 1 to 2% across most models in the next quarter. That's on top of an average new car price already topping $50,000. The reason is simple. Tariffs on imported parts and vehicles have squeezed even the most efficient producers. For a company like Toyota, which prides itself on lean inventory and tight cost controls, this move is a last resort. When the most disciplined player in the market is forced to raise prices, it's a sign that the old playbook no longer works. The timing couldn't be worse. Dealers are already feeling the pain of unsold inventory and shrinking margins. Now, they're bracing for higher sticker prices that could drive even more buyers away. The impact ripples outward. A 1 to 2% increase on a $50,000 vehicle means an extra $500 to $1,000 out of pocket for the average customer. For families already stretched thin by high payments and negative equity, every dollar counts. Manufacturers have tried to shield buyers from these costs, but the math no longer adds up. The first round of price hikes will hit in the spring, with more likely if tariffs persist or supply chain costs rise again. Executives like Sato say they have no choice. "We can't keep eating these increases," he explained. "If we don't pass them on, we put the entire operation at risk." This is the pressure building from the top down, Automakers raise prices to survive, dealers try to adapt, and buyers are left to figure out how to make the numbers work. The next move falls to the dealers, who must now decide how to keep their doors open when every new car costs more than the last. Franchise dealers are facing a new kind of dilemma, and it's reshaping the used car market in ways few expected. When new inventory piles up and cash flow tightens, the old playbook, clear out trade-ins quickly at auction, no longer works. Instead, dealers are holding onto used vehicles they would have never kept in better times. Jeremy Robb, interim chief economist at Cox Automotive, has watched this trend take hold across the country. The numbers back him up. Cox projects a 2.4% decline in total vehicle sales for 2026, down to 15.8 million units, as affordability concerns and tighter credit squeeze buyers from both ends of the market. In the past, a 10-year-old Toyota Corolla with 160,000 miles would have been sent straight to auction. Now, that same car is cleaned up, detailed, and parked front and center on the franchise lot. Dealers are betting they can squeeze out a little more profit by selling directly to customers desperate for affordable options. This isn't about chasing volume, it's about survival. With floor plan costs chewing through profits on unsold new cars, every used vehicle that sells on the lot is one less liability and one more chance at a cash-positive deal. But this strategy comes with a cost. By holding on to older trade-ins, franchise dealers are cutting off the supply that independent used car lots rely on. The ripple effect is immediate. Independent dealers, already struggling with higher wholesale prices and shrinking margins, now find themselves outbid or left empty-handed at auction. The result is a squeeze on the lower end of the market, fewer affordable cars, higher prices, and even more pain for buyers with limited budgets. This shift isn't just a footnote in the industry's balance sheet. The used car ecosystem depends on a steady flow of trade-ins, moving from franchise lots to independents. When that flow slows, the entire market feels it. Cox Automotive's Mannheim auctions, a bellwether for used vehicle supply, are seeing fewer late-model trade-ins and more aging inventory. The cars that do come up for sale are older and pricier than ever, pushing basic transportation further out of reach for many families. Dealers call it adaptation. For buyers and smaller businesses, it's a new kind of scarcity. The decision to keep a 10-year-old Corolla on the lot may seem minor, but multiplied across thousands of dealerships, it's changing the rules of the game. The market's newest survival tactic is squeezing the very people who can least afford it, and the consequences are only beginning to surface. The auto market's troubles don't stop at the dealership gate. Every unsold car, each dollar lost to interest or discounts, adds up to a much bigger problem, one that stretches all the way to the heart of the U.S. economy. The auto industry isn't just another sector, it's a core driver of American growth, supporting nearly 10 million jobs and making up about 3% of total GDP. When the gears slow down here, the impact spreads far beyond the showroom floor. Economists at Cox Automotive and Kelley Blue Book have started to run the numbers. Their models show that if current trends continue, sluggish sales, ballooning inventory, tighter credit, and rising prices, the drag could shave as much as 0.5% off GDP in the coming year. That's not a minor blip. In a $27 trillion economy, a 0.5% dip means $135 billion in lost output. The last time the auto sector stumbled this hard, the aftershocks hit manufacturing, shipping, advertising, and even local governments relying on sales tax from car purchases. The warning signs are everywhere. Sales forecasts for 2026 have already been revised down to 15.8 million vehicles, a 2.4% decline from last year. That's nearly 400,000 fewer cars rolling off lots, fewer paychecks for factory workers, fewer contracts for parts suppliers, and less revenue for the thousands of small businesses that depend on a steady stream of car buyers. As inventory piles up, factories slow production. Plants in the Midwest and South, often the economic backbone of their towns, face layoffs or shortened shifts. For every assembly line that idles, there's a ripple effect. Less overtime at the local diner, fewer orders at the parts warehouse, more uncertainty for families trying to plan their futures. The pain doesn't stop at manufacturing. Car transporters, advertising agencies, finance companies, and even state DMVs feel the pinch when the market stalls. Local tax bases shrink, hitting schools and services. The auto industry's reach is so wide that a slowdown in sales can quietly drag down entire regions, long before the headlines catch up. This isn't just a storm passing over a single sector. With every unsold car, the economy loses momentum. If the numbers hold, the slowdown in the auto market could be enough to tip national growth into reverse, threatening jobs and paychecks far beyond the dealership lot. A family sits at their kitchen table, running the numbers one more time. The price of a new car now averages $50,465, a figure that just a few years ago would have sounded impossible. That number isn't a luxury outlier or a fluke. It's the new reality for anyone hoping to drive something fresh off the lot. The sticker shock isn't reserved for high-end brands anymore. Even mid-range sedans and SUVs carry monthly payments that rival a mortgage. For many, the dream of a new car has become a calculation of what to give up. A vacation, a child's camp, a few more nights out. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about the moment when a parent realizes their old car, already pushing 150,000 miles, has to last another year. It's about the young couple who once planned to upgrade as soon as the lease ran out, now extending their loan for another 24 months just to keep payments manageable. The average car payment, already stretched thin by rising interest rates and longer loan terms, now leaves less room for everything else. Groceries, rent, healthcare, each one competes with the cost of getting to work. The divide that once defined the car market, the so-called K-shaped recovery, is starting to flatten out. For years, higher-income buyers shrugged off rising prices, driving luxury sales even as budget shoppers pulled back. But now, even those with strong credit and stable jobs hesitate. The lines at luxury showrooms have thinned. The trade-down effect is real. Buyers who once drove new Audis or BMWs are looking at used Toyotas or holding on to their vehicles longer than ever before. The impact ripples outward. When fewer buyers can afford a new car, dealers cut staff. Local repair shops see older cars limping in for one more patch. Towns that rely on sales tax from big-ticket purchases feel the pinch in their school budgets and city services. The $50,465 average price tag isn't just a statistic. It's a wall that keeps moving higher, shutting more people out every month. For thousands of families, the car lot has become a crossroads. Do you stretch your finances to the breaking point for a new vehicle, or make do and hope nothing goes wrong? These aren't abstract choices. They're decisions that shape daily life, from the morning commute to the grocery store run. The warning from 5,000 dealerships is no longer about distant economic trends. It's about the shrinking space between what people need and what they can actually afford. Right now, America's car lots reveal a deeper warning. When a $50,000 average vehicle price collides with rising negative equity and shrinking credit, stress fractures ripple far beyond the auto industry. These aren't just dealership woes. They're signals that household budgets and job markets are under threat. What breaks on the lot today could shake your world tomorrow. Let's talk. How are you seeing these changes play out in your community?